Good morning, everybody. Thank you for joining us here at Earth and Sky. We really appreciate your feedback, your likes, your loves. Subscribing to our channel on YouTube really means a lot to us as we continue doing these videos for each and every one of you. We are at that time of year thinking about Thanksgiving and what we are grateful for, what we want to do. Oftentimes in most years, we like to bring everybody together and gather around the table and be with our close friends and loved ones. And this year presents a new type of a challenge, though. We really need to consider being able to have many future holidays with our loved ones. So it might take a bit more creativity this year as you're planning your gatherings and maybe minimizing those gatherings a bit and being creative. So I wanted to get into some creative ideas as I encourage you to think about what you're grateful for this year, even though this has been a very challenging year for many of you, and to think about the creativity of how you can have gatherings in a safe way, which might not be in the same household this year as you normally would. So some creative things to just think about this year. This is going to be one of those life talks where we give you several ideas to maybe think about and come up with your own way of how you want to do this. But one of the ideas I was talking with somebody about is doing Zoom cooking and doing a Zoom where you could do your gratitude around the table. So instead of having many people from multiple households coming together, Zoom and other technologies too, like freeconferencecall.com, these are all great. There are many great resources where you can feel so connected with your friends and family without maybe breathing on each other so closely this year. So one of the things would be as you're cooking and when you're all in your kitchens, do Zoom, talk to each other, have a good time with it. And the same thing when you're around the dining table. And maybe instead of being directly around a dining table where you're really close again, breathing in each other's space. And this will also help if anyone does have bad breath, then you don't even have to worry about it if you're spaced out a little bit more instead. Maybe you'll get some extra little bonuses there. But if you would consider doing, I know someone I talked to said they're doing multiple card tables. So they have 3 different households present, 3 different card tables that are separated a bit from each other. Or you can consider using the living areas in your house. Instead of everyone around the dining table, have everybody spaced a little bit more in the living room when you're dining. And consider talking about what you're grateful for this year, whether you have people in your home or you're doing it over Zoom. If you normally have a big crowd, then schedule a time where you know everybody in each of the different households can turn on the Zoom and then share what you would normally share around the table. Talk about some of the good things that happened this year. Maybe you'll want to talk about some of the challenges, all the other conversations that we like having this time of year, but really think about having maybe everybody share a couple things at least that you're grateful for. I think sometimes if we think about one thing that we're grateful for, we tend to fall into the same trap of saying the same thing as everybody else. But if you challenge everyone around your table to say 3 things that you're grateful for, it gets you to dig a little deeper and to think a little bit more. Even though this year has been very challenging, there's a lot of love out there in the world. There's a lot of things to be grateful for. Sometimes the challenges really lead us up to where we're able to see the brighter things in life. If every day was a good day, we wouldn't realize how good it was. But when we have these challenges, when we have a year like the year we just had, then we'll really recognize when we have our moments that bring higher amounts of joy to us. So those are some options. You can also consider maybe having a shorter gathering. Instead of doing a full meal around a table, maybe do just dessert this year and kick everyone out after a half hour instead of lingering like we normally like to do. Or if the weather is all right in your climate, doing a gathering outside can be a really nice alternative to be a little bit more spaced apart and be able to have that connection. Remember, if you're getting together, avoiding the hugs this time of year, which we really want to do, of course, but elbow bumps or air hugs or anything like that, as our numbers are rising, again, we want to have many more holidays together and be able to enjoy a lot more time with our loved ones. If you are having people coming together in multiple households, consider using gloves when people are touching the serving spoons, so you have either sanitizer or disposable gloves, maybe wearing masks. I know it's sometimes uncomfortable, but wearing masks when you're not eating can also help to protect you and to protect the ones that you love the most, because that's why you're together, right? Those are the people that you love the most that you want to see. So those little things can help so that you can have so much more time and so many more memories to share with each other. And just imagine in a couple of years when you look back at how crazy the holidays were this year and how much you miss being able to see everybody, then it'll make you appreciate it even more when times are safer and we can have our big, huge gatherings and everyone around the table again. We all want to enjoy all of the holidays as best as we can, but be creative with it this year and really think about, with compassion, what the best way is to protect everybody that you love in your life. So back to creativity. Do you know what you're grateful for this year? Have you been struggling with things this year? Has this year been a little harder to come up with what you're grateful for because the other list is really long this year? Those are sometimes the best times to think about what you are grateful for, because you might have to dig a little deeper. But I promise you there are some good things going on. No matter how dark life seems at times, there are things that you can reach into to find that glimmer of hope, to see the light that is always there. Even if the sky is really dark and cloudy, there is always a blue sky on the other side of those clouds when the sun comes back the next day. It is always there, even if we aren't able to see it ourselves. Last year I did a life talk where I talked about how oftentimes at the end of the year, a lot of people will start talking about how they can't wait for the next year because the next year is going to be so much better. I bet most of us, when people said that last year, weren't expecting this year to be quite like this. But I talked about being cautious about doing that because you never know what the next year would bring. And when you recognize that you have the power within yourself to create the perceptions in your life, to notice what you focus on in your life, it brings your power back into you of being in the present moment and being able to seize the day and really, no matter what life throws at you, no matter what you find yourself in, being able to pull yourself up to deal with the situation around you within your full power so that you can find the good in the situation and move forward in life. So I think this year has taught us a lot about how to really work to do that. And I really challenge you to think about, as you think about going into 2021, really thinking about what you can do yourself to enjoy life no matter what the outer experiences are. Where can you find joy within yourself? How can you find gratitude in your life? Sometimes it takes work to find the gratitude and to see the good. I know that every situation brings sometimes both ways to look at it, the good and the bad. I know I've been very sad in some ways that I lost one of my closest friends, Deb McGee, this month to COVID. But at the same time, I'm so grateful for the memories that I had with her and all that I cherished with the friendship and all of the things I learned from her and that I love about her. I'm grateful for the bad days because those help me appreciate the good days. I'm grateful that I can look for the silver lining in a cloud-filled sky. Being grateful for the way my cats make me laugh every day. Sometimes if it's a really bad day, the cats don't know, and so they have all of their antics. I recommend most people have a pet if you can, because they will bring joy to your life in ways that can't even really be expressed. Life is always full of ups and downs. We're on a roller coaster in this life. That's part of what it is. We're human beings having a gravity-filled experience, which sometimes really knocks us down to the earth, and sometimes we find the way to lift ourselves up out of it. Know that it's a roller coaster. Know that if you're feeling it down, it's going to come back up. But sometimes it's about looking and finding that perspective within yourself, figuring out where the gratitude is, bringing it into your life. It's up to each of us to decide what we focus on, and what you focus on is what you attract in your life. I'd like for each of you to really think this week about 3 things that you're grateful for, that you're truly grateful for, and share those 3 things with others. It doesn't matter if the other people you're sharing it with are in a bad mood, or maybe they're in a really good mood, but talk to them about gratitude. If somebody's having a really bad day, that might be a good time to help them to look around and see what's around them that they can be grateful for, and look to see the light. Sometimes giving them examples of what you're grateful for can help, because none of us have a perfect life that's always amazing and great all of the time. If it was, we wouldn't recognize it because we don't have a contrast to compare it to. So think this week about 3 things that you're grateful for, share those with others, and know that what you focus on is what you attract, and you can bring amazing things into your life, even in the midst of all of the challenges that we're facing globally right now. Be creative, be compassionate, be kind, and I wish you all a very happy Thanksgiving. Thank you all so much.